Yeah. Okay, thank you. So you did such a good job, and you were so on point and succinct. We do have time to answer some of the questions that were left over from the second plenary. So if the panelists are willing to come back up to the front, I know Michelle left. If Liz and Wendy and I think Anea left, Anya and Beth, if you'd be willing, are you willing? I see Liz coming, so I think she's willing. And Wendy and Beth getting up. I also want to say, please make sure, again, to leave the recommendations on the table with your name and contact information, because we are going to compile these. We will put them together. The planning committee will be coming back together to kind of talk about next steps and where do we go from here. And obviously there will be the conference early next year, and I know that there's going to be some follow-up with that. But it's just very important that we capture these recommendations, because we don't want to lose this information we want to take somewhere. Please come on up and have a seat. And I'm going to turn it over to Linda now for further instructions. Mm-hmm.
So I think we'll just do maybe 10 or 15 minutes of additional questions. We did have a request for that. And then we do have a few concluding remarks and some great opportunities for you to continue the work that we want to talk about briefly. And we may send you off a little bit early, which would be very different. So let me see if I can quickly find those questions. So there was a question about the study around the the first statistic based on number of people having to work 20 plus hours a week in order to afford housing, or 120 hours a week. Was that what size household was that?
Those are data from the National Low Income Housing Coalition that they assemble out of the American Housing Survey. And the data had to do with the fair market rent for a 2-bedroom apartment. The fair market rent's a low average rent. It's set at the 40th percentile of new units coming onto the market. And so it didn't have anything to do with family size. It just said, if you want to have a 2-bedroom apartment at the fair market rent, and you want to follow HUD's guidelines that you should only spend 30% of your income on rent, how many full-time year-round, how many hours per week would you have to work at the local minimum wage? And so it didn't have to do with housing size.